Hello and welcome to a Northern Tempest battle report. I'm Joe. I'm playing against Chris here, and Jim's on the filming. So we're together again to do a battle report on the advanced scenario this time, which is one from the Studio Tomahawk pack. And it's also one of the scenarios that features in the UK Grand Melee this year. So we'll show you how it plays out with this particular game. So advanced scenario is quite an unusual one in that there are 5 different objectives on the board to claim, and we're scoring points for claiming the objective. So we've got to have units near to the objective within VS to score the points, with no enemy units within VS. Only units that generate a saga dice, non-mercenaries, non-exhausted units can actually claim points in this. And with the 5 objectives, it's going to be a bit tricky to figure out which ones do you go for, which ones do you defend, and which ones do you sort of abandon. Don't think we can grab them all. So interesting setup with the terrain with this one as well, because first player gets to pick 2 pieces of terrain and place them both. So I'm first player, so I've grabbed both pieces of hard cover. So sorry, Chris, you didn't get any hard cover. I've got it all. And you left with only some woods.
Just slow me down anyway.
So the warbands that we're using here. So we're playing Age of Vikings. I have the Umayyads, which are the Muslim faction, early Islamic faction, using the Moors board. So I thought they were quite interesting. They've got quite good defensive plays, good for foot infantry. Not as many options as standard Moors, but I thought I'd give them a go in this one. So I have a unit of 8 warriors on foot, another unit of 8 warriors on foot, another unit of 8 warriors on foot with a banner. Then I've got 8 warriors mounted with javelins. Then I have a unit of 12 levy with bows, warlords on foot, and a personal champion as well for this one. Because a personal champion has the loyal rule, it means that he can actually score points in this one. So that is my warband. Over to Chris. What's your warband?
So I brought Anglo-Danes with me today. I've got 12 levy, 8 warriors, 8 more warriors, 2 units of 4 Hearthguard, and 8 vagrant warriors. I know mercenaries don't really score, but it's what I'd use in the tournament anyway. So I'd try with the hindrance of having mercenaries. Vagrant warriors work quite well with Anglo-Danes because they help with the fatigue by moving fatigue around, because Anglo-Danes aren't great at moving fatigue around among themselves. The opponents, they're fantastic, and then they benefit from the fatigue as well. I've deployed at the moment half my army on one side with a unit of the levy, 2 units of 4 warriors, 8 warriors, and they're going to be pushing up to the opponent's side and to the centre. And then I've gone for the heavy hitters, the 2 Hearthguard, the Warlord, and the Vagrant Warriors on one side. So the plan with that side is to try to overrun my opponent's flank, which is weaker because he's only got 2 points on there, plus the personal champion. So he has got 3, but I don't really rate him. He'll be right. I'll just kill him. So... but yeah, because the Vagrant Warriors are such penalised in this scenario, their job will just be to kill stuff and clear the path for the Hearthguard and the Warlord. Soften them up a bit. But dead mercenaries don't require pain, so that's the benefits of that.
So we've kind of spread out battle lines here because we're only allowed M forward from our edges. You can see we're playing on the beach today as well. We thought we're nice to visit the seaside sometimes, isn't it, really? But I don't think we need to go in the water for this because our objectives are all on the land, and that's where all the fighting is going to take place. So going to be an interesting game, which will update you throughout the turns and see how it goes. But I'm playing with the Umayyads, playing the first turn. So let's see how we get on. Okay, this is the end of turn 1, and no battling yet, but quite a bit of fatigue building up on my side because I've moved forward my units to the objective. I've got my levy into the hard cover there so they can shoot out Chris's units as they come near, try and take off his saga dice. I'm trying to hold back on my left flank because Chris has got a lot of stuff marching up and he's going to steamroller through me, so I'm hoping I can hold on there and try and take out the stuff on the other side, really, and try and score some points on that side. Chris? Is that roughly what's going on?
Seems like it. My turn 1, I've gone forward with manoeuvring because it hasn't pressed forward on the right, so I haven't to spend any dice, which has been a god save, to be honest. The centre, I've pushed forward a little bit. It's put fatigue on my unit, so I can't be too bold. I think it made a bit of difference going to second play on this one because I had to think whether I want to stop him scoring points and double move onto it and then risk taking casualties straight away, or whether to hold back a bit and let him score that first turn on that centre objective, which he's going to take a lead quite quickly, which is something to consider. But I decided to protect my troops because he put that tactical fatigue on there. And then on the left side, I've sort of gone up a little bit, ready to counterattack. I've kept my units within VS of the objective, so if he does contest my objective, I'll be able to charge him, so I should be within 6.
So there's the end of turn 2, and Moors, the Umayyads, we moved up and we held our position. We tried to go a bit defensive, tried to shoot out some of the Anglo-Danes. Didn't really do much with the shooting. Tried to hold the position, and then the Anglo-Danes moved in. You're a classic Chris warlord play. Do you want to talk us through that, Chris? What's happened there?
Okay, so at the beginning of the turn, I rolled a lot of 6s. How many 6s did I roll?
5.
Five helmets. So I put a bit of exhaustion on, spread some fatigue about, and then I used that other 6 for Lord of War, and I kept re-rolling to get the max amount of dice. I went for a heavy play with the Warlord, so on the right side we pushed forward, bring my Hearthguard with me for a bit of spare bodies, which, to be fair, I didn't think I need, but I did. So we double charged, hit his personal champion. He had quite a lot of defense on. I had to be clever how I was using his fatigue to try to minimize the amount of defense he'd have. But we did manage to get through him. I think he had quite a few defense dice. Was it 6 or something in the end?
Yeah. Because I had Forest of Spears and Hold-Hearted, so I managed to get plenty of defense dice, but it wasn't enough because you charged with shock. I couldn't close ranks. Yeah,
and then we had 15 attacks hitting on 3s on him, so it was enough to bring him down. I've also moved up with a bit with the mercenaries. The Hearthguard, he hit me back with 7 out of 8 attacks, which is unexpected, hitting on 4s. So I lost 2 Hearthguards. So he is in a bit of a vulnerable position now. He's got no protection, but he has armor 6 because I've used Lord of War on him.
He cleared off all his fatigue, so I think he's safe.
So we'll see how he gets on.
He hit my personal champion so hard his axe broke.
Yeah, well, it's either that or the box broke, but it might have hit his champion profile so hard. Also in the centre, I've moved the unit up just to contest. I haven't tried to take the centre objective, but tried to limit the amount of shots as he's getting off with his levy. But I think he will spend most of his dice on his left flank this turn. So let's see if the Warlock can hold for turn 3.
Well, that's the end of turn 3. Pretty disastrous for me there. So yeah, I've got that wrong. I thought after Chris's Warlord made the big advance the first turn, I thought I'd try and defend. I didn't think I could kill him. I thought there was a chance, but I didn't think I could do it. So I was trying to defend with my defensive abilities. But it's been no use. He's steamrolled through the Vagrant Warriors and the Warlord, wiped out my 8 warriors and my other 8 my mounted warriors all dead. And the Warriors down to a single guy. So, yeah, pretty disastrous for me. Chris cleaned up on the points, so he's going to be well ahead. So my only chance is really to try and force my way through on the other objectives. Do I even abandon my home objective where I've got 8 warriors there? Not sure now. So, yeah, it's not looking great. What does it look like from your side of the table, Chris?
So my strategy was smash through on the right, my Warlord. It's worked slightly better than I hoped. I pushed the Vagrant Warriors twice, didn't take any casualties, leaning the objective. So the only sad thing is now, because they can't score, I've got to leave one of the Hearthguard units and the Warlord there with the objective. But yeah, I just powered them in. They get an extra dice for all the fatigues. I did a Chris special. I had 16 auto hits with the Warlord, using Crush the Weak and Determination when he's got fatigue on his cavalry, and then I basically picked all 8 of them up. I've had a few pot shots at the left, so there's 6 warriors now still pressing on my left home objective. My middle warriors are contesting his home objective. Joe's plan's been sort of to shoot me off, but it's had mixed results, but it's not picking up enough casualties quick enough to save the amount of points he's going to lose on the right, I think. So it's where to redeploy my forces now. I think he's going to try to push for the centre, but we will see.
So that was the end of turn 4, and the start of that on my turn, it felt like it was going okay, but it's a bit disastrous once Chris had his turn. So my warlord in the centre was going to try and fight Chris's unit, push them off the centre ground so I could claim that centre objective. So I went in with the charge and unfortunately fluffed it. He didn't manage to kill any of them. They closed ranks, and I was a bit starved of dice. I don't have enough to give an extra boost combat ability, so it's just his base combat on a fatigued unit. I thought it was going to be enough. It wasn't. He pushed back and he left him with 2 fatigues, very vulnerable in the centre. On my right side, though, I had a bit more luck. My levy repeatedly shooting managed to take the Saga dice off the unit of warriors, whittle them down to 3. And then my 6 warriors went for a charge on the levy, managed to kill a couple of them, push them back, which meant I was holding that objective. So I got the objective in Chris's half. So managed to score 6 points for that objective, plus 2 for my own, 8 points. So that was pretty good. But yeah, I knew my warlord was very vulnerable in the centre, and Chris has taken advantage of that and killed him. Do you want to tell us about that, Chris?
So my turn, obviously the warlord was vulnerable in the centre with a couple of fatigues on, so I've charged him with warriors. I've rested him. I put shock on so he can't close ranks. I managed to butcher him. He did score 8 hits against me out of 8 attacks, which is fairly impressive. So he has killed half that unit, which is I wasn't expecting. So the warlord is the only person on the objective, but I'd double moved the warlord across. I'd rested him, and then I took in a fatigue off with the vagrant warriors as well to get him over there. But he's not super exposed. I think if he spends the points on his levy to shoot him, he's not realistically going to manage to get out and charge him. He could shoot him to death, but he's spending all his dice and not really securing anything there. My left flank's not looking great, but he's only got 5 warriors left, so anything he does, he's got to make sure he doesn't lose too many of them. And he's only got 3 dice going up the next turn. So with the 6-point lead, I think I've got the game in the bag, unless anything drastically goes wrong. But sometimes that does happen.
Okay, so we finished up turn 5 there, and it was a big win for Chris. Well done, Chris. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So in the end, we tossed up the points after that turn 5, and I was on 25 and Chris was on 34. So comfortably ahead there. So in that last turn, really desperate moves for me to try and claim stuff back. So I sent my warriors to go and push the levy back in the corner to try and grab the Chris's home objective. And they only had 5 warriors, but they managed to do it. They stayed alive. There were 4 of them left alive, so they're still generating dice. They pushed the levy back, so they were scoring that objective. So that was good. But I had to push his warlord off the middle. And I got my 1 unit of warriors who've not done anything the whole game, sat on my home objective, and I was wondering, can I get them across? And I didn't think I could quite get them across. So it had to be my levy bowman had to come out of the hard cover to charge Chris's warlord. It was a desperate move. I mean, they had a chance because I had a wholehearted inspiration. So I'm getting extra dice, extra defense dice. I'm re-rolling 1s. There was a slim chance, but no, it was pretty disastrous. Didn't lost a few of them and didn't even get a hit on the warlord, or got 1 hit and you saved it.
It was a bit of a final gasp attempt because you had to get both objectives and then you had to roll for an extra turn on top.
Yeah. But I mean, that could have done it though. It wasn't.
Chance.
They did have a chance if they'd done a little bit better rolling. They could have taken down the warlord and or at least exhausted him, and then they would have scored that, and then you would have had something to play for at the end. So a good game, but in the end, you got that last turn to just kill my levy. We didn't even roll for the 6th turn because you were so far ahead on that one.
Yeah, I think board control was a big thing. I think my warlord going on a rampage, killing 3 units that game made a difference.
Well, your Anglo-Dane warlord is deadly. Even with his axe broken off, he's still man of the match, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, his axe fell off on transporting here. So he tries for some
Say
repairs.
that it broke off on my champion's head.
Personally smashed off the personal champion's head. That's not a possibility.
So it's a good scenario though. It is a lot to figure out with these 5 objectives, and you've got to work out which ones you're going to defend, which ones to go for. But those objectives of your enemy being worth 6 points, that is big points. If you can get one of those,
I agree.
It really is a lot. And obviously you cleaned up on the one side to claim the objective comfortably, and I was only just got that one. But if I hadn't got the one from you over there, I would have had no hope here, because the 6 points is it's loads. It's like it's a lot more than having your home objectives in the central one. Really.
It's definitely worth applying pressure, and also if you're applying pressure with a large portion of your army, your opponent is spending dice defending an objective rather than attacking yours. So you've got to, even if you're losing your own side, you've still got to put pressure on the other side. You can't just hang back.
Yeah, and we're joking, of course, at the start about first player grabbing the hardcover that was in the and me smugly taking both pieces of hardcover and putting them in my half, so Chris couldn't have them. But it's kind of a trap.
It is a trap.
In this. You
can't go. The cover isn't within short of the objective. So if you're sitting in the cover, you're not scoring any points. You can have nice, safe archers, but my archers were at the back contesting objectives, while his were in the cover. And then it appeared eventually he needed to come out.
Yeah.
So.
And I would have had a bit more flexibility if they were out of that cover earlier on. So it is a bit of a trap, that use of hardcover. A cover isn't going to play a huge amount in this game, I think, because it can't be within the short of the objective. Anyone in cover is not going to be contesting or claiming an objective. So it's almost just gets in the way, really.
I think if you're a faction who's got abilities like picks where you can move in between the covers and get exactly where you need to be,
it
could be
like it.
But I think you're better off just going around it.
Yeah. Yes, and I do some things differently. Certainly next time, I think there's a question over whether to leave 4 warriors behind on your home objective. I had 8 warriors sat on one of the home objectives, didn't do anything the whole game, so kind of 4 left there. Maybe send the other 4 into attack or add them to another unit, but then 4 on an objective, you would have been tempted to go for that, wouldn't you? So it's a really interesting scenario. Great to see how it plays out, and I think there's a lot of different ways you could come at this scenario as well.
Yes, I think cavalry might be a bit more advantageous for contesting as well. If you have cavalry or you have something with the quick movements. If you have a high pressure warband, I think that could be advantageous. Yeah.
You want something that can really do well up close, really, and fight your opponents, because there's going to be a lot of close quarter battles here. And obviously the Moors and Anglo-Danes was always going to be a lot of fatigue involved in the game.
Yes.
And I think you have mastered that better than me there, really, because I did use the Discord only in the first turn to throw out some fatigue, but perhaps should have done that more, really. It's just costly with the dice, really.
I think what ended up happening was you were attacking on this side, but there was nothing really fatiguing, so your ability wasn't used. Yeah. So every time I was attacking you on this side, I was spending your fatigue before you could use your abilities to full effect.
Yeah,
and that made the difference.
Yeah, so good win for you. Although I win for having the tidiest side of the table.
You do, and I wouldn't have won if you didn't loan me 8 men because I didn't pack enough in the box.
Right, okay, hope you enjoyed the battle report, and hopefully we'll do another one for you soon. Leave some comments and likes and say what you thought. And also, if we did any mistakes there, you can also let us know.
This is our first recorded battle report, so we will improve as we go, hopefully. And thanks to the cameraman at the back, Jim. There.
Cheers, Jim.